monster truck, you have no bumper, right? You're expected to hit whatever you're hitting the width of the wheels. Hello folks, welcome to Netcruzer RC. I've been working in my little workshop area. I've been cleaning it up a bit. It's still pretty much the same as what you've seen before. It's slightly cleaned up. I've done a little bit of work around that I will show you in the future, as I have set up some additional racks and some additional storage of some RCs. But something I have been wanting to show you for a while is a new unboxing. The Axial SMT10. This is the new 2020 version. I've actually had it for well over a month now, just kind of sitting. It's still brand new sealed, never even been opened yet. So I just wanted to go over some of the new things that are new about it that I know. I know some other YouTubers have already shown this off and have already done all their upgrades and done a lot to this RC, but for me, I've just been kind of sitting on it, and I just wanted to do it in my own time when it's nice and springtime out. Now will be a good time to actually run it and have some fun. Also, I saw Kevin Talbot just posted up a challenge of running these in a short little area, like a freestyle competition, so I might participate in that a little bit as well. But so this is a fully solid axle monster truck. It is Monster Jam licensed, so it's an official body, which is pretty nice. It's the same one that they've had all along, but now they've just re-released it. So for a while, you could not get these at all. Here's a little bit of what you get. I'm going to show you a little bit more about it right now. This is now a Horizon controlled product. So the old original one was Hobbico, and so it had all the Tactic and other kind of Hobbico branded materials in it. This one's now all Horizon Hobby, which means it now runs Spectrum and Dynamite style electronics. So we'll get into that in a second. But what they have done is beefed up so it's all metal gears now. Previously it had a plastic gear transmission, and it would not hold up, so it would break the transmission gears a lot. Now it's all metal, as well as we have an upgraded steering servo. The rest of the body, I believe, is the same as the old one, but you do get one rear sway bar. You can change your shock mounting positions. You get 2.2-inch licensed BKT Monster Jam tires, and the overall look and feel of it is the same as the old original SMT10. It's just all strengthened up in the internals, as well as the electronics that you get for motor and ESC. So it does have solid axle trailing arm suspension. The axles are AR60 OCPs. The Gravedigger is an officially licensed body, and I didn't even know it does that. It has the skeleton glow-in-the-dark head figure. Now, because the shocks are laying like this out of the box, it doesn't really drive like a monster truck, but if you lean them up and if you add a little bit more tension to the springs, then it'll give you like a bounce, like a real scale monster truck. One of the major changes with the changeover to Horizon Hobby is that we've gone to Spectrum style electronics. So we have a Spectrum STX2 transmitter, a Spectrum S614 servo, an SR200 receiver, and a surprising addition, this Dynamite DNS 2210 forward reverse brush DSC, which is waterproof. It handles 2S LiPo down to 12 turns. Now I have seen other people run it on 3S for short-term runs, so we will do that eventually, but you do expect to burn something up if you try and run it on 3S, but officially supported 2S LiPo. The motor is also new. This is a significant change from the old SMT10, is that you're now getting a 12-turn brushed motor, 550 sized, for increased torque and a lot more speed. This is probably twice as fast out of the box as the old SMT10. So this is the new 2020 model, and let's get it out of the box. And one thing I did have to buy, because it has changed over all the electronics, is I bought this adapter, which is an EC3 to Dean's, just so I would be able to plug it in and run it for the first time. Need to break the seal, so let's get into it. No returning it now. Not that I was going to. No, some new stuff comes out in the meantime. This is also an Axial product, so I'm expecting it will have a lot of spare parts in it. They tend to be known for giving you far too many spares. I mean, it's a good thing, but it's just so much stuff that I have to pack away. So this is all of the spare parts that you get for a ready-to-run vehicle. That's not normal. You normally do not get that type of spare accessories when you buy your RTR RC truck. Here's the radio you get with it. This is the Spectrum STX2, and people hate this radio for good reason. It's not because of the design, although it does feel fairly cheap. It's just because this radio protocol is a special Spectrum. It doesn't work with any other Spectrum except for this, and it's laggy. It has a delay. Whenever you press the throttle or the trigger or even steer, there's a noticeable delay. If you're used to a fast protocol receiver, this thing's really laggy. So I'm likely not even going to use this. I think what I'm going to end up doing is actually just replacing the receiver before even the first run, and I'm probably going to put a Traxxas in it, a TQI, and then I'm going to sell this off with another RC that I'm thinking of selling, so it'll be a ready-to-run RC with this STX2, because I do not like these. Even though I've bought a special upgraded Spectrum for some of my other Spectrum vehicles, this one, the receiver that comes in the box is not compatible with that, because it uses an FHSS protocol, not DSMR. Okay, zip tied in the box. Let's break it free. Those zip ties should lift out now. All right, here's my first time actually seeing one of these in person. It's bigger than I would have expected. So yeah, my hobby shop did not have one of these kind of out to play with or anything, so this is really my first time ever touching or seeing an SMT10 personally. Got a little protective cover here on the roof. The details on this thing is great. I can tell immediately why a lot of people take this body off and want to save it, but for me, I'm probably going to run it. As much as it's a really nice body, it is all just a sticker. The original SMT10 was a Gravedigger. This one's a Gravedigger, so I'm not really worried about scuffing up the body. What I am worried about is kind of cracking it a lot, because it's a kind of an open concept. It's very much designed like a real monster truck. It's fairly scale looking. It doesn't necessarily drive scale or have a scale type suspension out of the box, but that can be resolved. Having solid axles allows for a lot of twist. Amazing amount of clearance actually before it tips that front axle. There's a lot there. Yeah, you can definitely feel that sway bar in the back, for sure. Front feels like, yeah, you've got a lot more sway up front, it seems. I'm wondering if what it will handle like if you move that front suspension to this upper mounting point. So if you move that shock forward, then also on axle, there's a mount point right here. So I wonder what that would be like if you had the front shock standing up and this rear one pitched forward. I'm sure people have done this before, but anyway, I'll experience it for myself soon and watch along. But yeah, I'm kind of a little bit concerned by how flimsy this Lexan would be, so I'm probably going to add a lot of Gorilla Tape Clear, which is something that I do on a lot of my race vehicles so that they last a little bit longer, just to strengthen up some of the Lexan. But I do like a lot that it's got clear windows, and even the front ones are something that I do like that I didn't necessarily know ahead of time, was that the bottom of the suspension assembly is all black. So I do like that the trailing arms, the 4-link suspension is all black, the axles are all black, and the things that you're getting that are kind of the bright green, because Gravedigger is the scale chassis and the transmission mounting assembly. So under this body there's a full cage which is very scale. It looks just like a full-size monster truck, and the difference of the ready to run versus buying the builder's kit is that part of the chassis assembly, which are all green, it's black. So if you hate the green, buy a builder's kit, and then you would have to pair it with your own electronics and stuff. But for me, I think that that's actually pretty nice looking, and I will be tempted to run it without the body probably many times. Although this seems a little bit exposed, but that looks like it comes out with 2 or 3 screws. I can just remove this, and then you could run it with just the skeleton, no problem. Yeah, a couple of screws, you could take all the body mounts off, and then you could just run it as the cage. Maybe doesn't look exactly scale is how outside the wheel axles are. It seems like it's a little bit off, but I'm also not an expert when it comes to monster trucks, so what do I know? I'm just looking at it from an outsider's perspective. I don't watch a lot of Monster Jam or anything, so I'm not really up to par with all these things. Looks like battery tray access is going to be very easy. It's just one pull tab here, which that comes off, the door slides open, and then you can put in a long 2S stick pack right in the back here. It's all one big tray. So yeah, the tray assembly is here. This comes with an IC3 connector, which is different than everything that I have, but I can adapt that to something else. Here's the interior that you get, steering wheel tack. You've got the Gravedigger style glow-in-the-dark head, which is pretty awesome. In here will be my receiver box, so I'm going to open that up immediately, and we're going to get rid of that STX200 receiver thing and put in a good Traxxas one, something that has an upgrade path at least. And here's the Spectrum servo that you get. I'm going to see if this is good box stock. It probably is. The Spectrum 614, I don't know the stats on it. We'll see what that's like. I would imagine that probably instead of changing the servo, because this is a nice, like for a ready-to-run servo, it has a metal body, which is rare. I don't know if it's metal geared, but at least they put a metal body on it. The thing that seems like it might be the weak point is all these links being plastic. No metal links with this whatsoever. All the 4-link suspension is all plastic. The axles are plastic. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It actually makes it so that you can bend and twist and without breaking. And here's the new 12-turn motor, the 550 can 12-turn motor. So that's a significant upgrade over the old one. I think the old one was something ridiculous. It was a crawler motor. It was like a 35-turn. I wonder why they have that on there. Just to protect the bullet connectors? That's kind of a weird big piece of plastic just to make sure that those never touch. That's a little bit odd. Or maybe it's got a magnet in it for interference. I'm not sure. Chrome accessories. You get metal threaded shock bodies, plastic caps. Look at the so the bottom of the shock spring was a little bit off the cups, but there, now that's fixed. I'll have to check them all. And the tires, they're not vented very much. They're kind of, I would have expected them to be softer. They have a soft sidewall, but they don't breathe as easily as I would think they maybe would or should. Something I have been watching a lot of CCXRC when he first got his, and I really like the tires that he put on it as aftermarket ones. Duratrax munitions maybe, I don't remember exactly, but there are slightly bigger tires that are in black that make this look a little bit more scale and also handle a little bit better because it's a bigger, wider wheel and it just is a little bit nicer look. Look at that arm flex, eh? Also, check out that the Servo has a metal ring on it, which also is likely a new addition. I don't think that the old original ones would have that as well. So it's another improvement in the 2020 version. Rear sway bar. Rear sway bar is included, which is a very nice addition, but a lot of people criticize it for not having that on the front. One of the other things is if you're doing a lot of bashing with it or high-speed maneuvers, you might want to add beef tubes to these axles, which is a metal insert which just goes inside of them. I don't have anything on order for this, so I'm going to run it stock first, and then we'll start ordering parts. Up in here you can see a little bit of the transmission assembly, and that's also where you adjust the slipper clutch. So I'll do some of the things that I normally do when I get a new RC. I'll be checking the gear mesh, checking the slipper clutch. I'm going to swap out the receiver, then calibrate the radio. I would recommend that you look at the manual and then understand how you calibrate the trigger position and the steering endpoints, because that's something that they usually do not do properly from the factory when they're building these things in bulk. So the speed control is up here, right under interior. So you probably have to take the interior out to get at the jumper assembly for the speed control. To screw here, you'll be able to pull this interior assembly out because it's just on a thin little piece of Lexan, and then you'll be able to get the electronic speed control in there to adjust your settings. I'm going to change the receiver that's under this box here, which looks like a motor, which is a nice little scale touch. Take some of these protective tags off. I will add on some Gorilla Tape Clear to the inside of this body. The flames are paint. Everything else is stickered. That's surprising, or it's a print. And also the silver is paint. So paint, 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 and then all of the details, all these details are one big sticker. Scale stuff on there, just like the real thing. I don't know how exactly accurate this is to the real one, but they added an Axial logo right there. Also on this body, you do get these big clear protectors on the front around all the body pins, just to protect them being scratched as you put the pins in and out. So they do give you pull tabs on the pins, but unlike an Arma, they're not tethered to the body, so you can still lose them. So they make them easier to remove, but they're still free to lose. This big bag of spare parts, not only do you get a different style of head, but you also get these chrome accessories. So check this, we get a supercharger blower, and we've got an air intake blower, pretty awesome, and an upgraded pinion. I'm not sure if it's at the larger or smaller one, but there's another pinion in there as well. Seriously, the amount of extra parts you get in the Axial kits is just insane. I don't know what half of this stuff is for. It looks like you could build a whole friggin' kit off of all the extra parts you get in here. Axle, transmission assemblies, rod ends, lots of useful stuff. None of it is needed to run the vehicle, but it's all great maintenance parts and other things you can do with it. And you get two different styles of heads, one motocross style and one speed helmet style. Here's the receiver box, which does have a gasket on it, so make sure you don't rip that up. But 4 screws and then 1 grub screw to get the antenna off, which was up in here. And then you can get the receiver box open. Look how tight the tolerance is for this up in here to get the antenna through. The hole is just barely big enough for this. See if I can fit my Traxxas antenna through there. I probably can't because the Traxxas one has a metal shield on the end of it, and this one doesn't. Yep. The antenna won't fit through with the metal on the end, so I'll just tuck it inside the receiver box, and that's no problem doing that. I've never had a range problem with having the antenna stuffed in the box. It doesn't have to be sticking up through the antenna. Radio is bound up and it's auto-calibrated, and I've done firmware updates, and I've now got TSM and steering and throttle all done. So this is on 2S power. I've set my steering in points so they're not banging, as well as I've got TSM assistance working. So upgraded all around, radio system upgraded already because I'm using TQI with the Bluetooth adapter. So I was able to use my app, and I set it up as a Stampede monster truck, but Axial SMT10, and then customized all my settings, so we're good to go. I must say the initial steering on this thing is very quick. The initial turn-in, like it seems like a pretty quick servo for running at 6 volts. Well, full throw seems kind of slow. Anyway, this whole steering linkage seems very complicated to me. Like, why does it need to have it go one side, then across to the other, and then have a support brace underneath it? I think that's ridiculous to have that many links for steering. And if I hit something that's not on the tire, that's the first thing to get hit, is all those plastic links right there. I'm sure many people have beat on these quite a bit, but to me that seems like a pretty exposed area. A monster truck, you have no bumper, right? You're expected to hit whatever you're hitting the width of the wheel so that the wheels take all the impact, not this front axle. So keep that in mind if you're new to monster trucks. That's full throttle 2S. I'm not sure if that battery's charged, but yeah, forward, we have reverse. Next video will be a first drive. Alrighty guys, next video will be first run around my yard because stay home. So that's my new Gravedigger. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe. If you want to talk to me, leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching.